Cause the black man is God. And No Way Out 2, that's how I'ma leave it on you. Peace.
Doing they shit. Fuck that, the black man is God shit.
Live from Mecca. Live from Mecca. Live from Mecca. Live from Mecca. Live from Mecca.
Peace to the 5% nation of gods and earth. Today's mathematics is knowledge God, all being born to build and destroy. Build is to add on in a positive way. Destroy is to take away all negativity. Now, as you can see, Puff Daddy has been screaming out the black man is God, which is kind of exciting for me and many of my peers because we know where those teachings are coming from. There's only one person that was teaching the black man was God, and that started in 1963 by a man named Clarence Edward Smith, who is now known as Allah. Now, Allah learned these teachings in the Nation of Islam, but because the Nation of Islam wasn't teaching that specifically, he departed and took his teachings into the streets where he taught the youth. And his main goal and objective was to civilize those kids in the streets who needed to be civilized, who came out of a lot of broken homes. Now, a lot of people see our flag being worn by Jay-Z, being worn by Rakim, has been worn by many members of Wu-Tang Clan. You hear all the rappers talk about it. Now we see Puff Daddy going public with the teachings, although he hasn't manifested, any kind of knowledge about the universal flag. So that's what I'm here to do for you today, so you can understand not only what the flag represents, but also our teachings. Now, this is called the universal flag of the 5% nation of gods and earth. It was created by a man who was one of our peers in 1966 of May, named Universal Shamgar. Now, the flag represents man, woman, and child from the 7, moon, and the star. The 7 represents the black man, that's why it's black, so it could be distinguished from the moon. The moon is the woman, the star represents the child. Now, we have black and gold in the 8-point stars that go around it. The black represents the black man, all original people that are black, and the gold represents every other shade of color that came after black. Just for you people to understand that it's not only about saying the black man is God. The black man is God, but also all original people, because you're probably looking at me saying, man, you ain't black, you light skinned, you tan. Well, that gold is what represents me, and it also represents you too. So now we have the white that's around it. The white represents a cloud of ignorance that has been placed upon our people who have lost the knowledge of themselves, the knowledge of their culture. And the 8-point star around it represents the ever-expanding information of knowledge of self that is clearing away the cloud of deception. Pretty dope philosophy, I would say. Now, the 5% nation, we have a set of lessons that are called 120 degrees. 120 degrees are not holy, they're not something that we worship. They're actually questions and answers that include facts that we are required to memorize as a form of study. And you actually don't really pull out the best part of these lessons until you actually have memorized them and applied them to life for several years, because as you grow and gain experiences with family, with work, with socializing with people in the public, you actually gain insight on how to be a better person throughout the lessons that we pull. You learn to see things for what they are in society, dealing with education, dealing with equal opportunities, and you gain lessons by taking the messages that are received out of the degrees that we study. So it's not nothing like supernatural. We don't call ourselves a religion, we call ourselves a culture, because that's exactly what we are. We are a culture based off of the information and the knowledge we have on how to practice it daily. Now, the foundation of our lessons comes from many historical events throughout history that have been recorded throughout different lands, BC, thousands of years ago, and they're all compiled into one set of degrees we call 120 degrees, which we study. Now, The first set of lessons that we got is something called Supreme Mathematics and our Supreme Alphabet. In the beginning of this recording, you heard me say today's mathematics is knowledge, God, all being born to build. Well, today's is 17. Our Supreme Mathematics states that 1 is knowledge, 7 is God. So what we do is we take those two numbers, we add 1 and 7 together, which makes 8. So we say knowledge, God, all being born, which is equal to build and destroy. 8 represents build and destroy. Now, our Supreme Mathematics is actually a set of principles, 10 principles, which helps us understand the creation and the dynamics of ourselves, the universe, and everything in it. It actually, I personally see it, to speak for myself, I personally see it as an outline of human development, which is symbolic to the development of the universe and everything in it. Our first 3 degrees is knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding is basically the first 3 steps to the development of the mind. Now you have knowledge, which is the information you perceive. You have wisdom, which is the knowledge that sits in your head, which makes you wise after you have perceived the information you have gained. Now, knowledge and wisdom boiled up together, that creates 3, which is understanding. Understanding is a comprehensive picture drawn up in one's mind based off your knowledge and your wisdom. So I can go on and go on, because after 3 comes 4, which is culture. Culture is a man, woman, and child's true way of life. It's your behavior, daily behavior based off the knowledge, wisdom, understanding that you have. So, you have knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, freedom, power, refinement, equality, which is dealing with balance. 7 is God, as you see, in our universal flag. 8 is build and destroy, as I stated earlier. Born, 9 is born. So now after born comes cipher. Cipher is a 360-degree circle, which is represented by man, woman, and child, person, place, and thing. So now these are our teachings. This is what we apply in our daily life as a practical. So us calling ourselves God doesn't mean nothing supernatural, to convey what God really means. A lot of elders teach it as an acronym, good, orderly direction. It doesn't mean someone who created the universe, not something superficial. We don't teach that there's a mystery God. We teach that God is a public teaching where it came from, the 5% nation of gods and earth. We've been around since 1963 teaching the beautiful teachings of Allah, Clarence Edward Smith. Peace to the gods and the earth.